You've worked hard for your money, you got that promotion to director, you set up your own company, you made the sacrifices to save £60,000, and now you want to get the absolute maximum return on investment for all that hard work. The question is, what's the best property strategy to take? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can turn that initial £60,000 investment into a £750,000 property portfolio inside 3 years. Here's how. If you were to invest in traditional buy-to-let, the maximum value portfolio you could build for a £60,000 initial deposit is £240,000, and that's just simple maths, because the maximum mortgage you're going to be able to secure is 75% loan to value, which would give you a £180,000 mortgage for a £60,000 deposit. So your maximum purchase price you could possibly build, not including stamp duty, legals or any other fees, would be £240,000. Now, if you're based in London, you'd be lucky to afford a 1-bedroom flat at the moment for 240 grand. But if you were to, let's say you were to invest up north in Liverpool, where I find deals, you could probably buy 2 buy-to-let properties for that kind of budget, for a £60,000 initial budget, and they're going to cash flow around £200 a month each in terms of net profit, which is going to give you an annual profit of around £4,800 per year, which is not to be sniffed at. You know, a £4,800 profit on a £60,000 investment is actually an 8% return, and that's not including capital growth. So it's still a good investment, but it's hardly life-changing money. So what if we were to try a flip instead? If we look to do a flip instead, where you buy a rundown property in a really nice area, you refurbish it, you add value, and then go to sell it on, you could potentially make quite a lot of money and fast. If we have a purchase price of, say, £120,000, of which we're going to have a mortgage of £90,000, a deposit of £30,000, and total costs, that includes stamp duty, legals, broker fees, refurb costs, contingency budget, the full works, total costs in of £30,000, we might be able to push up this property value of £120,000 by putting in a new kitchen, new bathroom, the full works. We're going to uplift the value to a gross development value of £180,000. So we've taken a property worth £120,000 and we've uplifted the value to £180,000. If we were to then go and sell that property inside, say, 6 months, straight away we would have to pay off our mortgage fee of £90,000. We'd also have legal expenses of £1,000 and sale fees of £2,000, and that's not even including any potential early redemption fees from your mortgage. But just to keep it simple, let's say after our project we have £87,000 in the pot after our 1-year project, of which our gross profit is £27,000. But here's the onion. That gross profit is subject to capital gains tax, and chances are, if you can afford to save a budget of £60,000, you're a higher rate taxpayer, which means on this £27,000 you're going to pay somewhere in the region of £4,000 capital gains tax, leaving us with a net profit of £23,000 for what might be the best part of 6 months to a year's hard work, which is a very good amount of money, but you're not going to be left with any passive income or any assets which you can leverage against in the future, which is of course really one of the key benefits of property. Now, what if there was a strategy where you could gain all the benefits of passive income that you get from a buy-to-let, combined with the increased property values that you get with a flip? Well, that strategy is known as the Buy, Refurbish, Refinance strategy, the BRR strategy, or if we're being correct, it's the Buy, Refurbish, Refinance, Rent strategy, also known as the BRRRRRRR. You get the picture. So the BRR strategy is my personal favourite and the strategy that we use for our clients at Boland Property Management. Now, the concept of BRR is simple and genius. You begin by buying the very worst house in the very best street. And you're not going to be able to get a mortgage on this property. There might be no kitchen, no bathroom, or some other defect that means you can't get a mortgage. And believe it or not, this is actually a good thing, provided you can get a mortgage on the property after you've fixed it. And the reason it's a good thing is because you're not going to be competing to buy the property against owner-occupiers, buy-to-let landlords, first-time buyers, and you should be able to negotiate a really good deal. And the added bonus is that because the property is uninhabitable, you shouldn't have to pay any stamp duty. Now, you might be wondering, Sam, if I can't get a mortgage on the property and I've only got a budget of £60,000, how on earth am I going to buy and refurbish a property for that kind of money? Like, how bad is this house going to be? But actually, the answer to that's really simple. You just replace the mortgage with a bridging loan while you do the refurbishment and then refinance it once the property's been fixed. And the great thing about bridging loans is there's even products that allow you to do bridge to let. So you get a bridging loan out at the start when you buy the property, and then with the same finance provider, transition onto a buy-to-let mortgage once the refurb's complete, and this is all agreed at the start of the process. The only downside with the bridging loan is it's a high interest loan, typically charging 1% of the loan amount per month. So the quicker you finish the project, the more money that you'll save. But yeah, that is the strategy. You buy, refurbish the property, and add as much value as you can at this stage. Be creative with your design. You then rent out the property to Desmond and Molly, and there is a huge demand for rental properties at the moment, so you're actually doing a public good by providing rental properties to the market. You then refinance the property using the evidence from the refurbishment and the rental income to give evidence of the new valuation. Then you get it revalued, get it refinanced, pull all your money out, or as much of your money out as you can, and then go again and again and again and again. And that is buy, refurbish, rent, refinance in a nutshell. That's our strategy that we use at Boland Property Management. And now I'll show you the numbers. At the start, we're aiming for a full cash out BRR deal. And in this example, our purchase price is £80,000. This means our deposit is £20,000, our bridge is £60,000, on which we're going to pay 1% interest per month for the length of the refurb, which in this example is going to be 5 months. So we pay £3,000 of interest. We're also going to pay £35,000 in our refurb costs, all in, and we've got an additional £5,000 of legal costs and contingency, which means our gross development cost, all costs in, is 40, 43 plus 80, £123,000 all in, and that figure is known as our GDC, the gross development cost. Now, in order to get a full cash out BRR deal, we know that when we come to refinance the property, we're going to get 75% loan to value. So 75% of the uplifted value needs to cover our gross development cost. And the easiest way to work out what that number is going to be is just to divide this by 0.75, which is equal, in this example, to £164,000. And this figure is known as our gross development value. So our gross development value in this example is £164,000. And so we know when we come to buy this property, this rundown property, that the end value has to be £164,000 in order for us to have a full cash out deal. Now the reality is most deals are not going to be full cash out. You're going to leave £10,000 to £15,000 in at the end of a deal, which is going to give you a return on cash employed of somewhere between 30 to 50% or something along those lines, with a payback in 2 to 3 years, which is still an amazing deal. So after you complete your first project, you're going to look to repeat this process as many times as you possibly can with your 60k budget. So each BRR project is going to take around 6 to 8 months to complete, and I'm confident that in that time you can beg, borrow and steal your way to get an extra £10,000 to add to the pot. So this strategy is not going to make you a millionaire overnight, but it is proven to work, and it's going to allow you to take a £60,000 pot of funding and turn that into 5 or more rental properties over a 3-year period. Now, if each one of these refurb projects is worth somewhere in the region of £150,000, at the end of this series of projects, you're going to have a property portfolio valued at 750 grand. That is absolutely incredible based on a £60,000 outlay, and it's all leveraging the bank's money. Now, I want to be clear that these are ideal circumstances, but let's say each property was worth 130 grand. That's still a phenomenal portfolio at the end of it. Let's just look at the numbers. We have our 5 rental properties, and each one is cash flowing around £300 per month. This is equal to £3,600 a year each, or £18,000 a year for the whole portfolio, which is a very tidy sum which you can put back to reinvest in more and more and more BRR projects and build up that portfolio. But the real unique selling point about property is capital growth, which is around 5% per annum. And if we were to look at our property portfolio's value in 5 years' time, and when we come to refinance the portfolio, that's where we see the real money in property. So let's just have a look at these numbers. We have our £750,000 property portfolio, and we're going to assume conservatively 5% capital growth per annum. In the areas that I look in Liverpool, over the past 5 years, it's been 10% per annum or more. Manchester's 8%. So this is quite a conservative number. But if we do the maths, and I will need a calculator for this, if we take our £750,000 portfolio and we times it by 5%, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, by year 5, we have a £957,211 portfolio. So, £957,211 portfolio by year 5. Now, if we chose to refinance this portfolio, we would get 75% of the value, because that's 75% loan to value, which would mean we can pull out £717,908 from the deal. It's a pretty tidy sum, right? Now, unfortunately, we don't get to keep all this money because we still have to pay off the mortgage on the £750,000. Which is £750,000 times by 0.75, £562,000, 500. So if we take £717,908 minus £562,500, we are left with a profit of £155,408 of tax-free income. Now let me just say that again. You do not pay tax on debt. It's one of the few things in this life that you don't pay tax on. So this £155,000 that we've extracted from our portfolio after 5 years, after our initial £60,000 investment, is absolutely tax-free income, which is just absolutely incredible. And this capital growth, this is the real key selling point of property, and it's why property is the best investment. You know, just think of any other safe, reliable investment class that can produce these kind of returns. I mean, there just isn't one. It doesn't exist. Property is the best investment, and it always will be. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed making this video. BRR is my favourite strategy, and I do believe it's the way to get the most for your money in property. There are some other BRR strategies that I didn't cover that I'd like to cover in the future, such as BRR to HMO or BRR to SA, which are a little bit more complicated and there's a bit more area analysis that goes into it. So I'm looking forward to making those videos. And if you're an investor watching this and you think, well, I just don't have the time to do this research, but I'm interested to invest in property, then feel free to reach out to me through my website, through direct message, or just put BPM in the comments and I'll reach out to you. So have a great day, guys. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.